She broke down on the stand describing several gut-wrenching hotel nights, including one Diddy sprung on her birthday. She said that she told him over and over the encounters had to stop, and testified that she entered what she called a love contract with Diddy, who later threatened to stop financially supporting her. Now, much of her testimony today detailed the unwanted hotel nights that she says she was pressured to take part in. One of the most shocking happened on her birthday in 2023. She flew to Miami with Diddy. She says she didn't expect to have a freak-off style hotel night, but she said Diddy unexpectedly alluded to one, telling the jury, "We were at a sushi place and I was just really happy to be around my lover, and we was just so loving, and he was so loving and sweet as always. Then he starts to tell me what entertainment is tonight." She went on to say, "I had this gulp moment, like something was stuck in my throat, because I didn't expect that." Now, what next is hard to hear. She said Diddy gave her a necklace after dinner, and then a man she hadn't met before showed up to their suite. She talked about feeling robotic during the encounter and said that Diddy got frustrated when she asked for a condom for the man. Now, Diddy eventually gave her one, but she said he became unhappy and disinterested. Eventually, that man left, but then another showed up. So they had, quote, hours and hours of sex, and when he left, Diddy told her a third man was coming. She testified, "I acted like it was nothing, but inside, I hated it." Jane said she told Diddy multiple times the hotel nights had to stop. The jury saw this text she sent him shortly after her birthday. "I'd like to get off the hamster wheel and do something different with you." She sent this one in September 2023. "I don't want to play this role in your life anymore. It's dark, sleazy, and makes me feel disgusted with myself." A text like that started well before that birthday incident. This one is from February of 2022. "I don't ever want to do another hotel entertainment night with you." Jane also testified Diddy held significant financial control over her, revealing that they entered a 2-year verbal love contract in 2023 where he agreed to pay her rent. Later that year, texts show that they got in a fight over having a hotel night, and Jane said that she didn't want to do it because she was on her period. Diddy accused her of using him for money, and days later he sent her an audio message threatening to cut off support. This is what the jury then heard.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know. You think you silent treating me, and you think I'm gonna be nah. You'll have a rude awakening. You'll just have silence, and ain't nobody threatening you. And I ain't trying to go back and forth with no woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I ain't got no time for no games. Where my life is at right now, I don't have no time for no games, baby girl. Me and you can be mad. I can have a spat. We can have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is. Cause you got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice. So how do you go in the direction of like moving on like that, or you like just like have me just keep moving? Ain't no threat. I'm just being clear. I can't do this every time you get upset.
Well, my first guest witnessed all of the testimony in court today. Editor-in-chief of All Rise News, Adam Klasfeld. He joins me now. Adam, quite an emotional Jane on the stand today. Tell me, from her demeanor, what stood out to you?
It was just a very harrowing day of testimony. As you said, she was crying for such a long period of it. It seemed like several minutes before the court recess was her struggling to get through testimony, and the prosecutor, Maureen Comey, asking her if she needed to stop. To her credit, she pushed through. And what stood out to me was the harrowing nature of it, the text messages that you read some of them in your introduction that showed that for years she was telling him continuously in no uncertain terms that she didn't want to do this, and that according to her testimony and to the extrinsic evidence, she was surprised and said that she did not expect these encounters to be sprung up on her by him.
What was Diddy doing while she was sobbing on the stand?
Well, it wasn't like yesterday where there was no concern from the judge that he was making eyes at the jury. From my view of it, he was sitting just in his seat at the defense table. There was nothing dramatic like that. I would say that the jury kept rapt attention. There was
Really?
the man kind of sitting in the probably closest to the witness box, and he was looking in her direction the entire time. They didn't let on too many emotions for such an emotional day. They kept a very professional demeanor, but they were taking notes. They were engaged. I noticed at one point they were asked to see exhibits that will never become public. They're the the accounts, the depictions of the hotel nights, and they were taking notes. So we don't know what they got from that record, but there was something in there, in that sealed evidence, that was significant enough for them to make a notation about it.
You've been here throughout the trial. I wonder if you could compare a little bit your impression of Jane's testimony to Cassie Ventura's testimony, albeit these are, for the prosecution standpoint, they want there to be a common thread to build their case. But obviously, I'm not comparing two people's alleged traumas. But can you talk about the testimony and how they presented?
Absolutely. And again, without comparing any two people's traumas, this was a uniquely devastating day of testimony. I will say that that her testimony echoed Cassie Ventura's, not only in the kind of details and the progress of how this happened, but there was this moment, a very telling moment, where both of those witnesses broke down when they were asked by prosecutors, was there anything you liked about the encounters? And they both choked up when saying, being close to Sean. And I thought that was a very telling moment.
Indeed, there's a lot of similarities there. Again, they have to build on this pattern for the RICO and beyond. Adam Klasfeld, thank you so much. My brilliant legal panel is back with me now. We've got Jim Trusty, former chief of the DOJ's Organized Crime and Gang Section. He represented President Trump in the past as well. Monique Presley, a trial attorney who used to represent Bill Cosby. And Benjamin Chew, former co-counsel for Johnny Depp in his defamation case. I'll begin with you, Ben, because the emotion, the sobbing, the jury's reaction, every lawyer in that room, including the defendant as well, is looking very closely at this. But what do those things tell you about the effectiveness of her testimony, knowing that the jurors, they have to essentially assess credibility even through that emotion?
Well, not to use a flippant analogy, but for the prosecutors, this is like Aaron Judge hitting one out of Yankee Stadium. I think it sounds like she was the best witness they've had so far.
Why? Because of the sobbing, the emotion? Why does that connect with the jury?
Well, I think it connects with the jury because they can really empathize with her. One of the texts that you didn't read, just a simple one, this doesn't make me feel good. I mean, I think it's just, it really plays on the jury's feelings. I think they can empathize with her. This woman is someone's daughter, someone's aunt, someone's niece, and it sounds like she hit all the bases, not just emotion, but also coercion, also enterprise. I mean, she really helped them in a lot of areas.
Flip side, playing devil's advocate, I'll ask you all as well. How does it impact, because there was a lot of testimony from Cassie Ventura and that lingering question that many people obviously understand is judgmental of why did she stay? Why did she come back to this if this is how she felt? How does that play for a jury? Is that a consideration that as defense counsel you'd want to consider?
Well, I think it's an interesting game within a game here because ultimately there are going to be questions of almost nullification or credibility calls where people are like, she wanted to be a part of this so much. How can I call that a crime? How can I call that human trafficking or sex trafficking? The reality is, I think what we're heading towards next week or soon after is an expert who's going to talk about human trafficking and is going to basically say this is a common phenomena, this kind of hostage scenario where they're conflicted, where they know they're being debased, where they know they're being dominated in a horrible way. but they can't seem to break free of the psychological chains. And so I think that's going to be a critical kind of backstrap way of bolstering credibility down the road, long after they've left the witness stand.
And that'd be distinct, of course, from, say, a previous witness who testified as an expert about people who are involved in domestic violence, who are victims of that. The trafficking element would be a different layer to talk about the mentality and the mental state. That'd be a distinct expert.
Right. Right. And look, one of the things that was just mentioned that I think is really going to show up in closing argument, that text message is a good way of ending the week strong if you're in a long trial as a prosecutor. It's a great tactic to find good stuff that's fairly impossible to refute, like text messages, like voice messages. Leave the jury with that on a Friday so they're stewing on it all weekend. And one of the messages there was something about you can't leave your job, or I forget what the phrase
Oh, here it was.